She was running late for her shift again. Tables needed wiping, orders needed taking. The lunch rush was already bleeding through the front door. Nobody in that little restaurant had any idea that the next 45 minutes were about to change everything. But let me back up, because this story starts about 20 years earlier in a cramped college dorm room. It smelled like instant noodles and broken dreams. Marcus Ellison was not the kind of guy you'd look at in 2004 and think, he'll be worth $4 billion. He was charming, sure. He had that easy laugh and confidence from growing up with money in the family. But academically, he was drowning. Economics, statistics, advanced business theory, none of it was clicking. He was barely showing up to lectures, barely holding it together. Probably one failed semester away from being sent home. Enter Dana Reyes. Dana was everything Marcus was not, at least academically. She was sharp, disciplined, the kind of student who read chapters and color-coded her notes. She was working 2 part-time jobs to afford tuition, while Marcus used his parents' credit card for drinks. They met through a mutual friend and a transactional arrangement took shape. Marcus needed his assignments done. Dana needed extra cash. It was never spoken about loudly. It was just one of those quiet college arrangements that a lot of people pretend do not exist. Dana did his economics homework. She helped him prep for exams. She wrote outlines for papers he would then hand in under his own name. And Marcus paid her, not generously, but enough that she could cover textbooks and groceries. Did Dana feel great about it? Probably not entirely. But survival has a way of making certain compromises feel more reasonable than they might look from the outside. Marcus graduated. Dana graduated too, though nobody threw her a party or cheered particularly loud. They lost touch the way most college acquaintances do, gradually and without ceremony. Marcus went into tech startups, failed twice, succeeded spectacularly on the 3rd attempt, with a logistics software company that eventually got acquired for an amount with a lot of zeros. Then he built again, and now he sat firmly in the kind of wealth that meant private planes and meetings with heads of state. Dana's path was quieter. Her degree in economics should have opened doors, and for a while it did. She had a solid run in financial consulting, got married, had a daughter, then watched the economy shift and her firm downsize and her marriage unravel more or less simultaneously. Life had a way of arriving all at once sometimes. She picked up shifts wherever she could, kept her daughter fed and in school, and ended up waiting tables at a place called Rosie's Diner, a no-frills lunch spot with sticky menus and the best chicken soup in the neighborhood. So there she was on that Tuesday afternoon, carrying 2 bowls of soup and a club sandwich to table 7. When the front door swung open and in walked a face she had not seen in 2 decades. Marcus did not immediately recognize her. He was distracted, talking to someone on his phone. His driver waiting outside in a car that cost more than most people's houses. He had stopped in because his driver mentioned this place had good food, and Marcus liked to believe he still had the common touch, the ability to just walk into a regular diner. Dana recognized him instantly. Of course she did. She almost walked straight back into the kitchen. There was a long moment, maybe 3 seconds that felt like 3 years, where she made a calculation. But she was a professional. She was at work, and she was not going to let old embarrassment dictate her afternoon. She walked up to his table, notepad in hand, and said, "Hi, Marcus. Long time." He looked up from his phone. The recognition moved across his face slowly and then completely. Dana, from college. Dana Reyes. He put his phone face down on the table, which anyone who has ever been around very important busy people knows is a significant gesture. They talked. She took his order, brought him the soup, and in between other tables he kept pulling her back into conversation. "How are you? What happened after graduation? Where did life take you?" The questions were genuine, not performed. Marcus had his flaws, but fake warmth was not really among them. Dana was honest because she was past the age of pretending. She told him about the consulting years, the marriage, the daughter, the downsizing, the current reality of Rosie's Diner and the fact that it paid her bills. And the owner was a decent person and the chicken soup was genuinely excellent. Marcus listened, really listened, And here is where most people who know this story expect it to go in one of two directions. Either Marcus writes a big check right there at the table, the dramatic wealthy savior moment, or he leaves a generous tip and a business card and nothing ever really happens. The story becomes a footnote. But neither of those things occurred. What Marcus did instead was ask Dana one question. He said, "That economics brain of yours, is it still working the same way it used to?" Dana laughed and said it had not exactly been tested lately by anything more challenging than calculating a table's split bill. Marcus pulled out his phone again, but this time he was not taking a call. He pulled up a document, a financial model that his team had been wrestling with for weeks. A new venture he was launching, an investment fund focused on underserved small businesses. And the structural modeling was giving his analysts problems they kept failing to solve cleanly. He slid his phone across the table and said, "Just tell me what you see." Dana set down her notepad. She looked at the screen. She was quiet for about 90 seconds, and then she started talking, and she did not stop for 10 minutes. She identified the exact flaw in the modeling logic that his team of credentialed analysts had been circling around, without landing on. She explained it clearly, directly, and with a precision that made Marcus sit forward in his chair. He stared at her. Then he called someone named Trevor, apparently a senior person on his investment team, and asked him to come to the diner. Right now. No, Trevor, actually right now. Trevor arrived 30 minutes later in his own expensive car, wearing an expensive suit and carrying an expensive coffee. He sat down across from Dana, who was still in her Rosie's Diner apron, and Marcus said, "Explain to him what you told me." She did. Trevor's face went through several distinct phases: skepticism, focused attention, reluctant acknowledgement, and then something that looked a lot like impressed. Marcus offered Dana a consulting contract before Trevor's coffee was finished. Not charity, not a favor, a real engagement, fair market compensation, to help structure the financial modeling framework for the new fund. He was explicit about this. He said, "This is not about old times. This is about the fact that you just solved in 10 minutes what I have been paying people to fail at for 6 weeks." Dana took a breath. She asked for 24 hours to think about it. She called back in 8. The partnership that followed became one of the more quietly talked about stories in financial circles. Dana did not become a billionaire overnight. Life is not a movie. But she built a serious reputation within that fund, transitioned fully out of the diner within 4 months, and eventually launched a small advisory firm of her own that specifically worked with minority-owned small businesses, which happened to align perfectly with the very fund she had helped structure. And Marcus? He told this story in an interview once, not to congratulate himself, but because the interviewer pushed him on the question of where he found talent. He said he learned something that day at Rosie's Diner about the difference between credentials and capability, about how economic pressure can push extraordinary minds into invisible places, and about how many problems remain unsolved simply because the right person is too busy surviving to be in the room. The diner is still there, by the way. Dana stops in sometimes. She orders the chicken soup, which she will tell you is still the best in the neighborhood, and she tips well. Some things deserve to be acknowledged. Some stories do not end the way you expect them to, and that is precisely what makes them worth telling.